Hello, it's Andrew Eborn here, and welcome to another edition of Lives on Lockdown. Okay, so welcome back. It's Andrew Eborn here with another episode of Lives on Lockdown, and it couldn't be more appropriate for a lockdown because on the phone, right here, all the way from up north, I've got Jonathan Sedgwick. How are you doing, Jonathan?
I'm really good, thank you. It's a bit warm today, but we're doing all right.
It's pretty warm, isn't it? And you probably know this, you are the founder of UK Wrestling. So you must know
That's
about
correct, yeah.
lockdown.
Say again, sorry?
Oh, you must know about lockdown. Lockdown's your territory for years, isn't it?
Oh, that's it, yeah. I'm stuck inside a ring. It's all good fun, though. It's all good fun.
No, brilliant. So how are you finding it? I mean, we hear on the news all the time about sport. Sport might be coming back. They've got to put certain rules and regulations. You've got to have social distancing, so a bit difficult for the crowds. How's it been for you?
Well, for us, we had to stop, obviously, back in March. We ran our last event on the... I don't know what day it was. It's been that long that we've been stuck in lockdown now. But it's back end of March, we had our last event, and we was just obviously, like everybody, we just had to close down temporarily, and it stopped everything, because obviously where we run our training school in there as well. We train others to be professional wrestlers, as well as running our events inside there. So everything just come to a stop. So yeah, it's just hoping that, obviously, fingers crossed, everything gets back up and running sometime soon, so we can get back to it.
Sure. March the 23rd, it was all sort of locked down since then. So it's been several weeks, hasn't it? You must be very frustrated.
We had our last training session the night before. It was the 22nd. I remember it being, we said, oh, we'll be here tomorrow. We'll have the last day. So everybody come down, make the most of it. So we did the last session, and then we got obviously after the session, we saw the news, and it was like, that was it. Unfortunately, there's no session tomorrow. Tonight was the final session. So, yeah. Fingers crossed, we'll let you know.
Yeah, but it must be really difficult as a professional wrestler to go out and not have that adrenaline fix. You know, every time you get into the ring, it must be a real buzz. It must be a nightmare not being able to do it.
That's it. I mean, for us, I mean, obviously, like, our training school is open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays. So we're training just about every day of the week. Right. And then we have our events on a Saturday evening. So we're always continuously training, always in the ring, always doing something, always preparing. We're getting ready for the events, doing something. And then for it to just come to a stop, yeah, it has been a bit of a culture shock to us. It's like, wow, what do we do now? Because there's no training, no nothing.
Yeah. And it must be really difficult, Jonathan, because I've been speaking to major pop artists around the world. I've been speaking to big promoters. I've been speaking to the rich and the famous, and they've all gone about in a different way. So some of the big artists like the Stones and Lady Gaga, they can be at home, unplugged, if you like, and do a basic thing in front of the living room on Zoom. You can't do that if you're a wrestler, can you?
That's it. I mean, because there's no interaction. We can't get with another wrestler to do it. I mean, obviously, we're all still doing our usual regular workouts. We're all training at home. We've all got weights set up or things like that. We've all doing something like the general, keeping ourselves fitness-wise, cardio, stretching, or things like that. So we're keeping ourselves active and fit. But yeah, we can't do any grappling. We can't get in and do anything like that. So it's for us, it's just put a complete stop on everything.
Yeah,
on that side.
There's no lockdown in lockdown, as they say. So it's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? And so tell me, I grew up, I loved wrestling. I used to grow up, but those were the days of giant haystacks and Big Daddy. Do you remember those days?
Vaguely. I remember I was very young at that point.
So was I. But it was a brilliant time. But it was the old theatre type thing. You used to have lots of old dears in the front row who would scream their heads off. And it was brilliant, fantastic atmosphere. It's changed a lot since then, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we try and recreate that. I mean, we try and keep that interaction with the crowd, and we keep the characters, so you can, when the audience come in, they've still got somebody to boo, there's someone to cheer, and they can get really, really involved, because that's what wrestling's about. It's about those characters, the colourful characters, and it's for the crowd interactions. People come. I mean, everybody knows what wrestling is, but we're not trying to create anything that it's not. But it's just having that chance to just come and enjoy yourself for a couple of hours and just really get included into the action. So we do, I mean, all our storylines that we do are all very family orientated. They're included for everybody. So we do try and make it so it's fun for all. So yeah, we do try and recreate that atmosphere.
Oh, fantastic stuff. And how did you get started?
Just growing up with it. I was always a fan. I remember sitting with my granddad on a Saturday afternoon and watching the world of sport. And then I watched, I'm sure it was SummerSlam '88, the WWF at that time. We didn't have Sky at the point, so my dad used to get the events recorded for us from a friend at work. And we watched SummerSlam, and that was it. I was hooked. Watching Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake taking on Macho Man and Zeus, the big, massive guy. It was like, wow, it's just watching them characters, them larger than life characters, and just watching, it was just like watching like a film, watching a TV show. You get mesmerized by it. And I just never got out of it. I've always loved it since that point. And it was 2007, and an opportunity came up where we could start selling merchandise. So we started bringing in all the WWE stuff, all the replica belts, the DVDs, the action figures, the play sets, things like that. It was an online store, and it did really well. So in the end, we ended up opening an actual shop, actually selling the merchandise, and it did really, really well. And then to the point where after 12 months, we purchased our first ring and started running events. Because obviously that was, once I got into actually selling merchandise, it was like, I'm actually doing something with wrestling, and it was really exciting. And then obviously there was other companies that was running at the time, and there was like, oh, you sell merchandise, do you want to come and sell at our events? And then that was it. Once I got my foot in the door and I was seeing actual live events running, it was like, that's what I want to be doing.
So that was your passion.
So
when did you start? When did you start wrestling yourself?
I started actually wrestling full time in 2009. Was when I actually started doing it as a full-time, like just like daily training and getting really, really into it. Before that, I always did martial arts. I was always an active person. I always wanted to, at the time, I wanted to do wrestling, but there was nowhere local that I could do it. So I started doing martial arts, doing kickboxing and karate. So I was very active, and then obviously the time came when I could actually do some wrestling. So that came up, and I started doing it.
Well, fantastic. And a lot of people, it's incredibly great for getting fit, isn't it?
That's it. We do have people that come to our training school that, obviously, a lot of people come because they see it on television. It's like, I want to be a wrestler. I want to get in front of that crowd. I want to be in front of the audience. I want to do it myself. I've seen it happen. I want to do it. But we do get some people that's like, they just want to come for a different form of fitness. A different form, like instead of doing boxing or martial arts, something like that, they want to do something else. Because it's great for cardio, things like that, and fitness. So yeah, people can come and get involved without actually being an actual wrestler, just for the fitness side of it.
No, fantastic. And what's the earliest you start them wrestling?
Well, we do take a junior class from 6 years old, but obviously that's totally different to the adult classes. They don't take as many sort of. Obviously it's all about learning to fall and everything, but we teach them more. We still teach them how to fall, but we teach them a lot of the character side, so they can express themselves in the ring, and they can still have fun with it. They still have a lot of fun and everything. It's just, I think a lot of it is more of the fact that they get in the ring when they used to sit on the telly. All these big guys on the TV all the time, and then they get to come because we have the same size ring as the WWE one, so it's the full size 20-foot ring. So they walk into our arena and it's like, wow, look at that setup, all everything. They just want to get in themselves. But yeah, so we take them from 6 years old, but it's a lot more of a downgraded session than the adult ones.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I've just got a call. Let me just stop this.
There you go. That's all right. It's the connection all the way. I know we always have fun and games with connections. You're back with us, which is all good stuff. And so apart from the physical fitness side, obviously each wrestler has his or her own brand, don't they? Do you help with that side as well?
Yes, yeah. Obviously, our training school covers all aspects of wrestling. We cover obviously not just the in-ring style stuff, but also everything from outside the ring. So we'll help with the character building, whether they want what type of character they want to be, whether they want to be a good guy or a bad guy. We help out with what sort of the name they want to have, what type of moves they want to use, what finish they want to have, and everything. We help out with all that, and then we put it all together and create a character to come out onto the events.
Oh, brilliant. And are there, in the same way as you get with karate, you get obviously different, you have the different belts and so on and so forth. When you work your way through wrestling, what's the normal pattern of training? How does that work? And are there different levels that you get to?
I suppose it's more based on sort of a level sort of thing. How long you've been doing it, on sort of an experience. Obviously, once you can obviously sort of carry yourself, all right, you can look after yourself in the ring. So obviously, yes, it's sort of choreographed in a way. It's all predetermined. We know what wrestling is, but there's still the danger aspect to it. So obviously, you're still going to be able to look after yourself in there. Obviously, you're falling, you're throwing yourself out of the ring, you're throwing yourself in the ring. There's everything to it. So it's like any other type of sport. There's obviously there's always that aspect to it. So once you're at a level where you can perform a match in a way that it's suitable for an audience, you can protect yourself, look after yourself, then you'll sort of get onto a card, whether it be an opener or maybe a pre-show or something like that. But obviously, with wrestling, about learning to work in front of an audience, obviously you've got to be able to have that crowd interaction. If you can't go out there and please your audience, then you're not at that level yet. So we also do training events, which helps them get to that level. So once they're at a point where they can put a match together, they can be safe in a match, we'll run these training events so they can get out there in front of a live audience and showcase what they can do. And once they're at a comfortable point of being able to perform, then we'll put them onto the live shows, whether they'll be on the opener or the mid-card or something like that. And then obviously they work their way up to the main event spots.
Oh, fantastic. So do you get junior wrestling matches? You say kids as young as 6 can start. Do you have junior matches?
Yeah, we do run junior showcase events. So, but that's only open to like their own families. It's not open to the general public, obviously. It's just so their own families can come in, their mums, dads, brothers, sisters, grandparents, whatever, and they'll sit in the audience. And it's just so they can come out and show what they've learned, show what they can do. And it's a good little confidence booster for them, because we still help them be like a good guy or a bad guy. So if they're coming out as a bad guy, the crowd will boo them. So it's just a good confidence, because that's what they're trying to be. They're trying to be that bad guy. So if they're getting that crowd booing them, they're like, yes, I'm doing it good.
That's what you want. Yes. Nothing unites people more than a common enemy. You know, they love that. We love the bad guys. It's like Wolf, isn't it? You remember that sort of stuff, and you had to stare.
That's how Gladiator. Yeah, that's the one.
So what's your character then, Jonathan?
I'm the owner. I'm the boss. So I've got a huge target on my back. Everybody wants a shot at the boss, don't they? If they want to get it, ring and beat up the boss, then that's what everybody wants to do.
So do they boo the boss or cheer the boss? Do they boo the boss or cheer the boss?
Cheer the boss. I'm the good guy.
You're the good guy. So if you can start at 6, what's the oldest you can start at?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. Could I start?
Just as long as you were fit and healthy enough, then yeah, there was no reason why not. I mean, we have people in the 40s, in the 50s coming in, and I mean, not necessarily to actually be, like I said, on actual events, but just for the fitness side of it, just because it's really good for cardio. Because obviously, when we're putting wrestling matches, when we're out there in a wrestling match, if you're out there for like 20 minutes, whatever, 25, 30 minutes, you can't stop for a break. It's constant. It's all the way through. You've got to keep performing that entire time of entertaining that crowd. You can't just like, I need to start, I need a break, I need 2 minutes to go back, time out from the corner, 2 minutes. You can't do that. You've got to keep going and going and going and going. And so that aspect comes into our training as well. So it's good for the training aspect for it. So we have people coming in just for the training, just for the fitness and the cardio. It's really enduring sometimes.
Okay, so if I came in, and this sounds really tempting actually, this is the UK Wrestling Academy. If I came into you and said, okay, I want to be a wrestler, I want to go out, I want to perform, I want to do this sort of stuff, how would you start me?
Well, you'd have a few obviously sessions to start with where you're just learning the ropes, learning the ring.
Literally learning the ropes. Right. Yeah, okay.
Basically, yeah. So you learn how to run the ropes, you learn how to fall. And it's basically making sure you're safe inside the ring before you can move any further. Long before you start thinking of characters and names and moves and things like that. You're making sure you're safe within that ring and that you can look after yourself and the person you're working with. So obviously it's not just yourself, you've got their life in your hands. But if you're picking somebody up above your head, you've got to be able to throw them down safely and know you're not going to hurt them. So yeah,
put my back out.
You just start off with the basics. Start off with the basics, learn to fall, learn a bit of tech wrestling, things like that, a bit of technical stuff, and then move on from there.
No, I like it. So what sort of name do you think I could work under?
the Grappler Andrew or something.
The Grappler Andrew. No, I like that. That intense stare of that moment. What I love is that moment of tension.
You've got to work with the people's obviously size and physique. So if someone who's not sort of jacked and they're really massive, they need to have sort of maybe sort of a mat-based sort of technical style. So you work it to their advantages and make it to the strengths and make them look good in that sort of sense.
Okay, and the outfit as well. Would you give advice on the outfit? What should I wear?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the outfits will always help people with outfits. A lot of time people have come in with an idea and it's like, well, I've got this idea for a character and I've got this idea for my gimmick and my gear and everything, and this is where I want to go with it. And it's like, sometimes it may look really good. You just think, wow, that's perfect. Let's just go with it. Sometimes you might think, well, it's a little bit too much. We had one guy playing a sheep character, but he went a bit too far with it, and he came out. He wanted to come out as a bomber, and it's like, that's a bit too far, especially what goes on in the world. Some people take offence to it, so with that we had to tone it down a bit. But generally speaking, we'd let people go with their own direction, and we'd just help them a little bit. But if it's a bit too much, then we'd say no to it.
Good idea. And so, tell me about your favourite characters. Who are your favourite ones?
Well, I always grew up. I always loved Bret the Hitman Hart. He was a great Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, British Bulldog, The Undertaker. I mean, these days it's guys like Roman Reigns and John Cena's. But yeah, I mean, I've always had a wide variety of favourites, never just one in particular.
That's very good. I particularly like Andrew the Grappler Eborn. I've heard of him. He's going to go far.
That was going to stick, is it?
Absolutely. The merchandise do well. It's got to make sense. So at the moment then, in terms, and people I love the idea. You can go training, start when you're 6. It's a great way of getting healthy for any age. You do your academy, fantastic.
But the idea of bringing kids in sort of young, it stops them from being on street corners. Your parents know where the kids are, and everybody knows what wrestling is these days. It's all mainstream TV. Kids love WWE wrestling. So having a training school where they can come in from a young age, parents know where they are, and it's somewhere where they can come and be safe, in a safe environment, and they're looked after. So yeah, that's why we are starting them off at a younger age.
No, I absolutely love it. And have you given any indication yet as when you might be able to come back? I mean, I've been talking to the boxing federations and things like that, and the special rules they're going to bring in to make sure people are safe. Have you had any discussions about that?
I mean, we're hopeful for July.
Okay.
Our annual showcase event is WrestleBration. That's our annual event where we put everything. That's our big event every year.
I saw that on your YouTube channel. It's really great. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's scheduled for 25th of July. So fingers crossed. Hopefully everything will be moving that forward then. Maybe not so much on the training side. I mean, we've got plans in place for training. Should gyms be allowed to reopen? There's going to be because one of the things with people that work out, the biggest problem they have is motivation. When they're on their own or they're stuck at home, the biggest problem they have is like, I can't get motivated. Because when we're at wrestling, we're in the training school, it's like, right, this is what we're doing. Because we're in a group, you push yourselves and you push that a bit further. So one of the things we've said in training, if we can get back, well, we can still keep with the social distancing. We can get back to the fitness side and the stretching and things like that. We can get some ring time. You can do individual drills. It just be that you was back in the ring and you had that sort of motivation from your other colleagues and things like that, and your trainers, your coaches, whatever, and pushing you and getting you back into it. So it just, and obviously, hopefully, July time we're back doing the events, but hopefully we can social distance with the training as well.
Sure. And how much? I mean, the thing they say about wrestling, a lot of it is choreographed. How much choreography goes into it?
When you first start, just about all of it. For new starters, yes. Generally, like I was saying about the training events, like for us, trainees will plan a match from start to finish. They'll know everything that's happening throughout of it. They'll speak to the referee will know everything that's happening in the match. So if they get lost, the referee can communicate with them and help them through it. But the more, like I was saying about getting higher up the card, the more experience you get. You may know you start and you finish and maybe a couple of big items in the middle. But other than that, it's just you do it on the fly. It's just go out there and you wrestle because you know the sort of the body language of each other. You know which way someone is moving, which way they're going. You know what they're going to do from how they're performing it or whatever. It's just, it comes with experience.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. So lots of people, when the audience realised they were going to come on the show, I got lots and lots of emails which would bring you back to answer. But one particular one which I quite liked is, what do you think of Putin? And would he make a fantastic wrestler over here?
He'd have a great character. Yeah, I'm sure he'd come out and get the crowd reactions, which is what wrestling's all about. It's all about the reactions. If you can get that reaction through, as soon as you've got through that curtain, you've got it. If you can get a reaction before you're even actually doing anything, then spot on.
I think he does judo, doesn't he? He does judo and wrestling, and he's that big lion thing. He could, maybe we could go with a grappler. Maybe we could set that much up.
That's it. I mean, we do have actual grapplers in wrestling, or some guys from mixed martial arts backgrounds, things like that. So yeah, he'd probably fit right in.
Okay, brilliant stuff. So finally then, and we will bring you back because I'd love to find out more. I'd love to come along, maybe see some matches and things when you get back up and running. How would you like to be remembered?
For UK wrestling, obviously. Obviously, it's something I've put a lot of time and effort, and it's had so many years put into it since 2007. It is sort of my other baby, apart from my other children. But yeah, it's had a lot of time and effort put into it, and it is what it is. It's had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in it.
A lot of that, literally. Jonathan, it's been an absolute delight.
Literally,
you will come back and see us again, yeah? We look forward to seeing you again next time.
Definitely, yes.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So there you go. Andrew the Grappler Eborn. I'll perfect that stare, as Mike Reed always says. If you want to take part in the show, if you have any questions about any of my guests, if you want to be a guest yourself, write to me at lol, that's LOL, at octopustv.com. Don't forget to put your comments in. Don't forget to subscribe. But for me, wrestling is the future. I love it. Isn't that fun? Be good, be safe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.